What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of The Three View. Today, we are joined by Peoria Mustangs head coach Luke Gruden. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks, Brittany. Yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you. And thank you for hopping on this call.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So we'll kind of hop right on into things. So you yourself played NCAA Division I hockey at Wisconsin, and then you went on to not only skate but also coach in the ECHL for the Peoria Rivermen. Now that you're back in Peoria, what has it been like for you kind of giving back to that community that you're so familiar with?
Well, that was a long time ago. I was at Wisconsin. But no, I grew up in Minnesota and then played in the USHL with the Green Bay Gamblers
Mhm.
in their first inaugural season in the USHL. Then was fortunate to go on to Wisconsin, and then after there, I landed here in Peoria to play with the Rivermen in the East Coast League, and I've been here ever since. This is my family. I met my wife here, and we have three kids, and was able to coach a little bit there with the Rivermen, and then needed to make that switch into the real life and with kids and children, and but stayed close to it and coached my whole life throughout the years with my two boys who also played hockey.
Oh, nice. That's super exciting. So when you
Yeah.
saw that this position was open last season in Peoria, what originally kind of drew you to this opportunity and getting back into coaching?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So I was coaching for about 5 straight years up in the AAA organization, the Chicago Fury.
Mhm.
Both my boys, their 05s and 06s, played up there, and I was able to help and be a part of it. They were graciously offering me in a position to help coach and be around the kids in the game I love.
Mhm.
So when that happened, both my boys were decided to play college golf. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna step back a little bit and take some time off. But all these kids that a lot of the local kids that played in Peoria, I've had the opportunity to watch or to coach, or they were on some of my kids' teams growing up and things like that. Um, and I just thought, you know what, during that time, they had that rough start, a very young team. Some of the ownership and some of my friends that, I played with or know in the community would ask if I'd be interested in stepping in and taking over. And had to have a lot of discussions and conversations with my wife and family about it. But I was honored to be given the opportunity to be a part of the Mustangs organization and these young kids' development, and thought, what a great opportunity to start to get involved again and continue to give back.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's such a cool and unique story that, typically we don't hear.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things, which it's really nice this year too, because actually my 06 is actually going to play for us this year.
Mhm.
He decided to go a different path, and instead of going to school, he wants to go into the trades. So he's got some time to think about it. So I'm going to get the opportunity to coach my son again. So that's kind of a joy for me as a parent and a coach.
Yeah, definitely. And last year, with you coming in at the end of October, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced when you were connecting with the players and the staff that were already in the organization?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing for Peoria's been such a great organization for so many years and have so many talented players and had so much success and a great history. For us, I think the team was so young. Um, they had and Ben was a great guy last year. I didn't know him personally, heard a lot of great things about him, but he was put into a tough situation with a very young team. And for me to come in, that was my thing, is to try to win back the players and try to get them into that culture that not to win, but to hate to lose. Try to get them to compete a little bit harder.
Mhm.
Um, Put in some systems and some things that can help them at their level of where they're at. Try to be successful and get them to buy into that. So that was the biggest thing: is how am I going to get these kids motivated for the remainder of the season when they had a 1-15 start? What can
Mhm.
we do as a staff? What can we do as an ownership? What can I do as a coach to get that trust and to hopefully get them on the right path?
Yeah, absolutely. And now that you kind of have a partial season under your belt, what were some of the biggest areas this off season that you were looking to make changes to that hopefully your team will have a better start in the 2025-26 season?
Yeah, and it goes back to what I just said. I mean, it's getting that mentality. Again, I'm not about wins and losses. This is development league.
Mhm.
These kids are here because one of two things: they want to continue the playing hockey, the game they love, that so many of us used to play and love. It's about getting them to buy into the process, getting them to see what it takes to maybe get to that next level. So if that's, Division 3, whether that's getting into the NA, whether that's playing Acha hockey, whatever that is. I mean, sports is let's face it, I always say everyone's going to play in the NHL, the no hit league, right? um, but what are we going to do as coaches to help develop these young men? What can we do to be mentors and leaders in their life, whether they go be a professional in something? And that to me was the biggest thing is what can I do to help them become a young professional in whatever their trade's going to be? If they're going to be a doctor, attorney, a lawyer, electrician, a plumber, whatever that is.
Mhm.
So for me, it's about bringing that team culture together, bringing that the unity and trying to get all the kids to buy in. If we can do that, I think wins and losses will take care of itself.
Yeah, for sure. And when you are speaking to these players that you'll have next season, what kind of advice are you giving them, whether that's from your own personal playing experience or your past coaching experience, to try to help them get to the next level?
Enjoy it. If you don't love it, if you don't love competing, if you don't love being at the rink, if you don't love being around teammates, why are we doing it?
Mhm.
My thing to them is you can always go back to school. You can always go to work. You can't always be a kid and you can't always be a hockey player. So want to be here, love to be here, work hard, be a good teammate, and be coachable.
I love that. And you guys will be competing in the Central Division yet again. It's known to be a tough division. What kind of standards are you setting for your team on day one to bring that compete level every night and, battle with these teams night in and night out?
Yeah, I mean, you said a great thing there. Our division is extremely tough. I mean, we got some great teams, top to bottom, and it's only going to make us better. To be the best, you got to beat the best. And they challenge our kids on a daily basis. It can be frustrating, right? It can be you can have your ups and your downs, and when you see Rochester pounding you all the time, or you see Wausau and West Bend and Toma and St. Louis, and they're all they're good competitive games, but for them, I think it's the opportunity to play the best, and I actually like it. And our division, I think will be strong again this year. So
Mhm.
very difficult, very very difficult division, but I think all of our kids and staff are up for the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially when you have teams like West Bend, who just came off a hot Fraser Cup run, making it to the semifinals, it will be tough for sure.
Well, it's good for our kids too, as young kids. They see these mature teams and players and what it takes to be the best.
Right.
When you look at these top teams in Tier 3 hockey, 4 or 5 of them are from our division in the
Mhm.
top 15, and it's good for them to see. We can compete against these top powerhouse teams, and we can make a difference, and we can do good things. It's just it's a process, and our kids got to have the patience and buy into that process.
And you touched on it a few times. You guys had a super young roster last year. How exciting is it that some of those players can come back this season? And how are you going to manage kind of having those players from last year gel with the new players as well?
So, like I said, hopefully they in the summer they put in the extra effort and the work, and they anyone these kids from an '06 or an '07, they can mature and grow and put some muscle on in a pretty quick amount of time if they're doing the right things in the summer. So to see them come back to be now what you call a veteran, a second year player, hopefully they have a different understanding of what to expect, and they can help the new guys, whether they're new older guys or new younger guys. They can help them understand junior hockey. Some of these kids have come from Double A, some have come from high school, some have come from Triple A. You get all different levels of hockey playing in the NA3. So hopefully they can help mentor and help them become better players quicker than maybe they did when they came into the league.
Yeah, absolutely. And are there any names that kind of stick out to you that will be returning from last year that you think will maybe be taking on more of a leadership role for this upcoming season?
Yeah, it's hard to say yet because we still have a couple kids that are going to NA or NCDC camps. So we're not sure exactly which one of those might or will not be back. But I mean, if they are back, I mean, I think you got a young '08 and Brendan Miller who will be a great player in this league. He came to us late in the year last year. You got Wyatt Duke, who you know he came to us in November last year, and you saw what he did. He was an all-star in our league, averaging almost 2 points a game. Another player we had, Skylar Thompson, who he was a point a game production player, and I've been able to see all those guys this summer skate, and they're even getting bigger, better, faster, and stronger. So if we have all those guys back, and Jordan Minnie, who's a defenseman, that's been in the league for this will be his third year. He's a great player. With a couple other additional players we've brought in, you know, I think we'll be a team that, you know, I think people will look at us and say, "Wow, that team's improved. That team's much better than they were last year." Maybe don't take us lightly, you know, hopefully we with those that leadership and that group of kids with some other kids we brought in, we can turn some heads and do some wonderful things.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you could set one kind of bold goal for this upcoming year, that if your team was to achieve it, it would kind of give you a we did it kind of moment, what would that be for you?
You know, for me, it's a simple thing. I mean, it's all about the next season, right? So if we come in with our record last year, if we can come in and do well enough to make it to the next season, to make playoffs, I think that's a huge accomplishment for this young group of kids who went through quite a bit last year. So my first goal would be, hey, let's do what we can do. Let's buy into the process. Let's allow the process to happen, and then hopefully we can get to that next season, which would be playoffs. And then as you know, when you get to playoffs, anything can happen. So that would be, I think, our goal. A very achievable goal for our organization is to get to that next step, and that would be the playoffs.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing what the Mustangs do this season.
Awesome. Thank you, Brittany.